Good morning, students. Next topic, types of multitasking. So usually we know about what is multitasking. So it's just simply within a fraction of time how many tasks has to be executed simultaneously. So we have cooperative multitasking, primitive multitasking, and non-primitive multitasking. So have a brief description about these two. So first one is cooperative multitasking. So what is meant by cooperative? Multitasking. So what is meant by cooperative? So for example, we have one task, or else I have to complete one particular unit. For example, A is one student and B is one student. So these two students has to finish one particular portion, that is unit 1, having 10 topics. Unit student A and student B, these are the two students, and these two students has to finish unit 1 entire syllabus, and this particular unit 1 having 10 topics. So each A and B individually have to study about of entire unit 1. So A has to study for 10 topics and B has to study for 10 topics. For example, each topic will take 30 minutes to finish. Each topic will take 30 minutes to finish. So 10 topics, 10 into 30, 300 minutes. That's nothing but 6 hours. Sorry, 5 hours. So it will take 5 hours and he also will take 5 hours. But this particular student does not have that much of time to spare on that particular unit 1 of 5 hours. Then these A and B both are combinedly will study. For example, same student A, this particular student will read for 1 to 5 topics. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are the topic numbers. So obviously each topic will take 30 minutes only. So 5 into 30 is nothing but 2.5 hours. Simultaneously, student B has to prepare 6 to 10 topics like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He is also preparing for 5 topics only. So he also will take 5 into 30, 2.5 hours. Means on an average basis, previously each student have taken 5 hours to complete 10 topics. But by taking the cooperation of student B with student A or student A with student B, they have finished the same 10 topics with 2.5 hours only. Then they have saved the time, because once A finished 1 to 5 topics and B finished 6 to 10 topics, remaining these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics explained by student A to student B. At the same time, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 topics has to be explained by student B to student A. Then obviously he can understand what are the 6, 7, 8, 9 topics, and student B also understand what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. So by mutually sharing the topic or context, they are getting 2.5 hours time as access. That's what exactly why we are going to use cooperative multitasking. So that is the why it will become more primitive form of multitasking, right? To execute only when currently executing task voluntarily relinquish the CPU. Means here we have two students, na? A and B. These two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and B will study 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 topics. Means voluntarily A will decides, okay, I will read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics, and he will explain to B. He will accept it to explain the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 concepts to B, and he has given the assignment to B that you need to finish 6, 7, 8, 9 topics, and these topics has to be explained to student A. That it is mutual understanding between A and B. That's what exactly cooperative multitasking. They would like to finish the 10 number of tasks usually, but they mutually decided to cooperate with each other. Means voluntarily, no one is assigned the work that you have to read these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and B has to read 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No one is given any assignment or any work to these A and B students. They have decided to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics by A and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 topics by B. They voluntarily decided, okay, I'll read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics, you will go and read 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 topics, and mutually we will explain to each other. Then the time which are spending by each unit of individual student. So A can be use these 2.5 hours to read next unit, and B also having 2.5 hours relaxation time. Or he can spare those 2.5 hours to prepare next unit also. For executing time is going to be reducing. That's the reason why cooperative multitasking is very, very crucial. But the only thing is, voluntarily task has to be, or process has to be decided whether it will cooperate or it will not cooperate. Next one is preempted multitasking. So preemptive multitasking is nothing but, I just now told you now. So P1 is executing, P2 is there, and P3 is there. So I have one diagram you also. That's okay. P1, P2, P3 and P4. I have 4 number of processes to execute. So while we are comparing with P1 having higher priority than P2, P3, P4, and then P3 having higher priority than P4, and P4 having higher priority than P2. I'll just take it as an example only. It may not be like this order only. You can take P1, 3, 4, or else 4, 3, 2, 1, whichever that you may need. Okay, so initially first P1 entered into ready state. Once ready state is accepted, then obviously it will reach running state. So once P1 reached running state, ready state will becomes empty. Then obviously P2 will go to execute. Okay, but the priority of P2, where it is? After P1, which one is there? P3 is there, not P2. So obviously P2 will be back and P3 will go to the ready state, while running state is having only P1. So P1 running state is there and it has completed execution. Once it is completed, then ready state having by P3. So P3 will reach ready state, and then from ready state to it will reach running state. While it is comparing with P3, P2 having lesser priority than P3. So it will go to completed state. Once P3 will reach completed state, and again which are the processors pending? P2 and P4. While comparing with P2 and P4 means this one. P4 having higher priority than P2. So P2 will be still in holding state only. Then P2 will reach ready state. So after completion of ready state, it will reach running state. And then it will go to completed state after completion of execution of P4. Then there is no processor available except P2. Then P2 will come to ready state, and then it will come to running state, and after completion of execution it will reach the completed state. So which is the first output that we will have? First output will be P1, process 1, and the second one is P3, and the third one is P4, and the last one is P5. In this particular order only it will execute. Okay, let's come to state 2, that is P1 is greater than P3. While P1 is executing, so it has to reach running state. Once it is reached running state, ready state will becomes empty. Then obviously, as a sequential execution process basis, after completion of P1, P2 has to reach ready state. But due to priority problem, from ready state, P2 will be returning to original state, and then P3 is going to execute in ready state. The returning part of lesser priority process is known as preemptive multitasking. Means no one will give any assignment to check the priorities in between P1, P2, P3 and P4. But they would like to check the priorities in between P1, P2, P3 and P4 on based on priorities order basis only. These processes will execute. Then it will come to order 1, 3, 4 and finally P2 will come to execute. After completion of these process, you will get finally result. So if the statements are executing like P1, P2, P3 and P4 in the same order, that is known as sequential execution. Or if it is going to execute 1, 3, 4, 2 or depends upon whatever it is, priority basis execution. Okay, so preemptive multitasking is currently running task process is preempted, means return back to give a chance to other task. What we are doing, P2 went to ready state, but higher priority task P3 came to execute. Then obviously when P2 realizes that I do not have that much of priority rather than which is already available in waiting state, that is P3, then P2 preempted is nothing but just return back to its original state and give the way to P3 to execute in ready and running states. That is preemptive multitasking. So this is the graphical representation of preemptive multitasking. So I have two processes, that is P1 and P2. So started with P1. I have started with P1, process 1 executing. While it is executing, I have an interrupt that P2 process came. While we are comparing with P2, P1 having lesser priority. So I'll just switch off my process up to which extent it may be executed, and then I started to execute P2 until it is completed. This switching process from P1 to P2 or P2 to P1 is known as context switching. That part we already know about of this context switching. So after completion of execution of this P2, then it will be back to here, and this will execute the remaining process of P1. Once its P1 is finished, it is okay. Or else if I have P3 also, while P1 is running, I received one more interrupt, that is P3. Again, while we are comparing with the P1 and P3, P3 might have higher priority, then obviously P1 will be stopped and P3 will start at execution. Once it is completed, then it will be back to again P1. Because there is no processors are available to execute at the same time, those processors does not have any higher priority than P1. On this particular two conditions only, P1 will continue its process and it will be executed. And next one is non-primitive execution. That's what exactly a sequential execution. It won't bother about of the priority. So this is non-primitive multitasking. So which is currently given to the CPU time. So currently I have given one process, that is P1, P2 and P3, and I have given the operation time 0 to 2 seconds for P1 and 2.1 second to 4 seconds for P2 and 4.1 second to 6 second for P3. Manually I have given these time slots. P1 has to be executed in between 0 to 2 seconds only. It has to finish its own entire operation. At the same time P2 will be in 2 to 4 and P3 will be in 4 to 6, in between 4 to 6. Let it may be P2 having higher priority than P1 having higher priority than P3. Even priority wise this may not match the execution order. It won't bother about of the priorities. Simply first, which is the starting time? This one. So what is the assigned task in this particular duration? P1 has to execute. So it won't bother about of any other priorities. Initially in that particular time slot P1 has to execute. That is the task or assignment that I have given to this kernel. Then obviously it will execute this P1 only. It won't allow any other process to execute in between this time slot. Once 2 seconds reached, then it will start execution of P2. In between 2 to 4 it won't allow any other process to execute. It will allow only P2 only. At the same time it has to finish the entire process by 3.9 seconds or 4 seconds only. If it is not completed also, after 4 there is no time slot is available for P2. So once 4.1 second reached, then P3 will start execution and it has to finish by 6 seconds. It won't much bother about of the priorities. Having a graphical representation is, so here also same, I have two processes. So first one is P1, second one is P2. Initially we have given one task that first P1 has to execute it. When P2 will arrive, then the priority between P1 and P2 will be checked, and which will having higher priority, that task will be completed or continued. So I started with P1, process 1 started with P1. So after completion of P1 only it has to switch to P2. Up to that extent P2 has to be in waiting state only. So once P2 started execution, until and unless P2 completed, it cannot come to P3, process 3. So again, once P3 execution completed only, it will reach P4 and then this will be P5. Means the execution duration of each and every process is fixed. That's what exactly the name it is. Non-privative multitasking. It won't accept any process has to go back, and again it has the right to allow any other process to execute in that particular time slot. Time slots and execution times are fixed. Thank you.